All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Beau. He is the great Z. How you living, buddy?
Doing very well, man. Doing very well. Excited for today. 100% chance of a great show today, and I'm excited about that. We got great
100%.
guests. Gib A's
No
on
doubt.
fire. No doubt. There are no doubts about it.
Yeah. And I see that we have luminaries joining. Troy Hill will be on the program
Troy
today
Hill.
at some point.
Oh, and do you know who shared the defensive backfield room with Troy Hill in his collegiate days?
I don't.
Money Mitch. Oregon Ducks together. So, of course, that's going to have to come up during this interview.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. What a real treat that'll be.
Yeah.
Does he know that we know Money Mitch?
He's going to find out. He's going to find I'm
in
hoping,
the way that we know?
like in my heart, I'm hoping that he's talked to Money Mitch about coming to the Browns, and Money Mitch was like, oh, Big Nate and Beau.
Big Nate's going to take care of you.
They're going to take great care of you. Maybe get some rallies. I don't know. Play your cards right. You could be eating, fries for free forever in this town.
One of the great moments of all time. One of the great moments of all time.
doubt.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I did not know that. Well, that adds to it. I mean, that adds to the fun and frivolity.
Amped up my excitement.
And he hasn't been on this program
No.
yet. You've interviewed him when he signed, right?
No.
Or no one has spoken to him.
No, Gribbs did, I feel like. I don't know if it was BPA, if it was a BPA one, or if it was I was interviewing other people. I don't know what it was.
we were in the middle. We were in the middle of a show, and Gribbs stepped in and handled the duties.
Yeah, so we have not spoken with Troy Hill. Again.
Oh, boy. That's got a lot of potential. I'll be in a bucket hat. I found mine from a couple of years ago.
Mine's right there.
Not going to be in a sombrero, but I will be in a bucket hat.
It's a
if we're
Panama.
going out there.
It's a Panama jacket. It's not
the urban sombrero.
Urban sombrero. I kind of want to get one just to see how absolutely absurd it looks.
I'll tell you what. There is no doubt in my mind that if you and I got our hands on those and wore them around camp, that we could move product.
There's no doubt. No doubt.
I think we could move a lot of product for the people. I think you want to start slinging some urban sombreros.
I think it's going to
send some our way.
Yeah.
And look out.
I think it provides great. It's going to block the sun. Your neck is going to be good. Upper chest, great.
Yeah.
You will be completely, blocked from the sun. And then if on a particular day you happen to be in the rain area, I think you're protected from the elements as well.
Make sure you're in the rain area.
Yeah, because yesterday, let me tell you
something. Was there conclusion to that? I feel like you're hinting around at things. Has there been a conclusion?
So
I feel like you want to get into it. Is there more to it? Something I don't know?
I spent a lot of time on this last night, as I'm sure you would imagine, to really try to understand this.
Yeah.
And here's what I've
concluded. Do you think that the discrepancy between my time spent on it and yours would be great?
If great is 5 minutes, then yes. If great is less than 5 minutes, then no. No. I don't believe so.
Go ahead.
What I discovered is that the typical preconceived notion that many of us who were not in the biz had, and what your meteorologist friend had shared with you, are actually both right. So there are two ways in which the weather percentages are communicated. The National Weather Service will tell you, as you shared with us, it says 40%. That means there's a 40% chance in that area that there will be a rain event that day. But when you're doing a broadcast, they're doing two calculations. So there's the probability that rain will happen, and then that probability is multiplied by the percentage of the viewing area that would get rained upon if the rain were to happen, and then those numbers are multiplied to give you your ultimate percentage from the TV perspective. On your app, It's straight up 40% in your area. That means in your area there's a 40% chance of rain, 6% not.
Right.
But in your TV, what you were saying, and what your buddy was saying, not you, what your friend was saying, that is a part of the calculation. How likely is it that it will rain in the area at all, multiplied by the percentage of area affected by rain were it to rain. So if they believe it's a 100% chance that it will rain, but that rain's only going to hit 30% of the area, that would be a 30% chance because it's 1 times 30%. If they think it's 50-50 that's going to rain and only 50% of the area is going to get affected, if it did rain, that would be 25%.
Where did you get all this information? You did this on your own in 5 minutes, or did you have help from people?
I did it. The Google. It's POP, the percentage of precipitation or something like that. I did a lot there, and then there were many people who were on here.
So
probability.
I see our buddy Brian Shaw now as I'm digging in. I see Brian Shaw has given a pretty good breakdown of this.
He gave a breakdown of
it appears that the line that is of his view, which is what I was discussing, and I believe I even said in the conversation yesterday, not your app.
Correct.
Your app's different.
But
I believe I said that.
It's not.
And this is an interesting line from him.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting line from him.
I know.
This is the one that I think we should really focus in on.
Yeah.
As I'm going through some stuff from yesterday that I'm seeing now. Beau's interpretation is accurate.
Yes. Yes.
And seen.
No, but then he follows that up.
And seen.
What he's saying you're accurate about is that TV meteorologists are forecasting for entire viewing area. And I never disputed that you weren't accurate. But there is a calculation of the chance it will rain plus the area affected that gives you the ultimate percentage. So you are correct that the percentage of the area matters, which I never knew. I never knew that.
What I was saying was in a 7-day,
that
40% is what he's referring to, is the viewing area, is what he's referring to, 40% of the viewing area.
That's right. He also says he doesn't use percentages because they really don't make much sense.
Which is probably smart.
Descriptive words are better. Isolated, few, scattered, widespread, etc.
Has he become, I'm wondering if he now is the official meteorologist of this show. Does he work for the station that can be?
I don't know. He should. I don't know.
He's not. We have no idea.
We are not.
I have no idea.
No.
How did he get drug into it?
Somebody tweeted at him, I guess, and then they got into it. They liked it. The people enjoyed it yesterday. Brown's Therapy had a great time. He had you and Gibbe raising Brian Shaw.
He's really got
rolling around.
It feels like Brown's Therapy. Now I'm seeing a bunch from Brown's Therapy. It appears that he has declared me winner.
He has.
And in fact, you lost. Give it up, Zegura. All right. Listen, there's no losers here. Everybody's a winner, and there's a lot of ambiguity. There's no. We really don't have to. I see now you're retweeting humans. I mean, this is really where we're at.
That's the POP that I was telling you about, which is the percentage that it will rain times by the percentage of the area that would be affected from a broadcast standpoint. And that's how you get the percentage.
There you go. All right. Well, we all sorted it out.
We're all smarter,
so there you
or
go.
not.
So, are we?
I'll tell you what. I angered the weather gods, or somebody did, at some percent, because
I
was in flash
floods
in Solon. Did you get that in Hudson? It was nuts yesterday.
I did. Yeah, it was pretty dialed in for about an hour straight. And I will say this, that one thing that I can attest to, the drainage on the landscape project works.
Good.
So that's good.
You was tested yesterday.
Really positive. It was tested.
I pulled up to the store yesterday, and it literally, the skies opened, and it was a deluge, the likes of which we had not seen. I hopped into the back seat of my car, pulled my golf umbrella out of my golf bag because you couldn't get out of the car. It was curtains. It was quite a scene. Quite a scene at the supermarket yesterday.
Yeah, we've had a lot of that. I've noticed this spring that we've had a lot of downpour situations.
Yeah.
I wish we could take some of our rain here. I wonder if one of our chief meteorologists could help us with this. Take some of our rain here and transport it west. Because they don't have rain.
Headed out to old California way, as they like to say. Yeah.
Yeah, my home state. I mean, they could use a little rain.
There's no doubt.
It's a little crispy.
You're
it's
rationing.
Pretty early in the year to be crispy.
If it's yellow, let it mellow.
It's not good. Yeah, that's where you're at.
You grew up with that.
One other thing I did, yeah. One thing I would say on a more just impressive perspective, and I'm not pretending that there are a bunch of crossover fans between the Cleveland Browns and the Columbus Crew. I understand that. Two different markets.
Sure.
The Crew are very much a Columbus entity. I've been around the Crew since 2007. I've done countless shows with them, used to host a show around them. And what the Haslam family and Dr. Pete Edwards have done in Columbus with that team is impossible for anyone who's been around that team to wrap your head around. You really can't.
Yeah.
You can't. This was a third-class citizen. And what they've done at that training center, what they have done in the facility is stunning. And they debuted the Performance Center yesterday. It's extraordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary. And it's so appreciated, I know, by that town and by the fans, and they're rabid fans of that team. And it's a beautiful thing, and we're lucky that for those of you who do cross over, it's an astonishing thing that's taking place down there. We're very lucky to have the Haslams involved in these ventures, certainly, because they do things in a first-class way. Lots to get to, including Troy Hill, who will join this program coming up here in a minute. Before we do that, though, those were, of course, your OBM Hot Topics. Ohio Business Machines, preferred copier provider of your Cleveland Browns. They have all the X's and O's for your office. You can call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Troy Hill up next, off and running, Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. obsessing over something like football can be a problem, but if you're obsessing over gambling, it can be downright dangerous, so do something to take your mind off it, perhaps find a hobby. If you want some more tips, go to keepitfunohio.com for great ways to keep gambling fun. Troy Hill will be joining us here on the program momentarily. We were debating off air what the approach should be on the Money Mitch reveal. Should we just, like, what's the way to I can't imagine anybody knowing Money Mitch and not adoring Money Mitch. I just don't think that's even possible. So I feel pretty confident, just assuming that. I can't imagine that there was any sort of discourse. It just seems impossible.
And for his
Money Mitch comes in.
I got him.
Yeah, and he's got to be pure joy in college. I mean, I'm sure he's gotten better like a fine wine, but I mean, college Mitch in Eugene, Oregon?
Jeez.
Come on.
Well, we'll ask him.
Yeah.
And we are thrilled to have Troy Hill on the program. New cornerback, of course, formerly of the Rams, the Oregon Ducks, and right here, Ohio native. Troy, thanks so much for taking the time. Nathan and I were talking before you hopped on, and it's great to get a chance to talk to you.
Yes.
One of our favorite guys and one of the real regulars of the show in recent years was Terrence Money Mitchell. He was our guy.
Yes.
Yes. We were hoping, because what we were saying was, Troy, is we can't imagine anybody not loving Money Mitch, because anytime he walks in a room, you just smile. So you guys go back a long ways.
Yeah, definitely go back a long way. I remember we came in the same year at Oregon, too.
Money.
He got there a little bit earlier than me, though. But, I mean, yeah, it was a fun year. Me and T. Mitch, we used to be grinding together freshman year on late nights, too. Nobody probably know that. So me and T. Mitch was close for a while.
So did he, when you made the decision to come back home and come to the Browns, did you talk to T. Mitch about his experiences here at all?
I actually hit him, like, before I made that decision. I hit him, like, hey, what you think about the Browns? Like, and he like, man, you would love it out there. And I kind of made the decision a little easier once he said that. So, I mean, yeah, I definitely reached out to him.
What an ambassador.
Troy, he is. And he was on our show, I think Nathan and I, definitely the most of any Browns player in the last in the tenure that we've been doing the show. He's made more appearances than anybody. He was an all-time great friend of the program.
Yes.
There have been many instances where he would come in and then, for example, he would get French fries for life in Cleveland. That happened.
That did.
Yeah, on the show. So that's what you have to look forward to, my friend.
French fries for life?
Yes.
Yep.
He did. He did a whole interview eating French fries mid-interview that went viral, basically, and now he eats French fries for life for free from that particular establishment.
Oh, yeah, that's dope, man. He ain't never tell me about that.
Well, you have to ask him. You'll have to ask him about Browns Daily, because
I'm actually supposed to be going to train with him this off season for like a week or out there in Sacramento, where he's from.
Yes.
Actually.
Tremendous. I love it.
Good.
Well, send our regards.
That makes us happy.
Yes, that makes us
Definitely.
very happy. Very happy.
I'm going to have to ask him about them French fries, though, how he do it. Maybe you can plug me in or something.
We can work that out, man. Troy, it is so great to have you here, and we're so excited. It's been so cool to see this defense running around. John Johnson in this week, of course, your former teammate with the Rams and now current teammate here. You're an Ohioan. You know certainly what this organization means to the fans of it. And you look around and you see the talent on this defense. Obviously, everybody's coming back on offense, 12-win team from a year ago. And I'm sure it had a big part to do with your decision. But can you wrap your mind around what winning here will be like and what it will mean to this part of the country?
Man, that's going to be crazy because, like I grew up around here, so when I knew how the Browns fans was loyal back in the day when they was, an old first team or like winning one game. So, I mean, it's long overdue. So I can only imagine how to electrify the whole state of Ohio, to be honest with you. So, I mean, that's really another reason why I came out here, because I wanted to be a part of something special like that. Because, I mean, I know what it'll do for the whole state, to be honest.
It will be electric, and you started. I was doing, do a little background before we got a chance to talk. Your NFL debut came in First Energy Stadium back in 2015 as a member of the Bengals in a 37-3 victory for your side, in a day that Gibbe and I could not even recall. Austin Davis started at quarterback for the Browns that day and played the whole game, which we did not remember. But is that kind of crazy that your first NFL action came at First Energy Stadium, and now this is your home? That is going to be your home stadium playing here for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's crazy. Full circle. It's coming full circle. So, I mean, I'm excited about it. You know what I mean? I never really even put it into that perspective, but I'm excited about that now that you said it. You know what I'm saying? Like, first start, so now that's just not making my last. Or I wouldn't mind retiring out here, though, after a few years, 5, 6 years.
Yes, let's go.
Well, let's do.
We'd love it.
We'd take it.
Yeah.
Troy, how you guys, last year you guys were part of the best secondary in the NFL with the Rams, and Andrew Berry and company signed 40% of it. And now you guys play for the Browns with you and John Johnson. How were you guys able to create the magic you had last year in the secondary with the Rams? And can you bring some of that here? And how much will it help? You're the best slot corner in the league. John Johnson, one of the best safeties in the league. How can you bring some of that here to help this secondary next year?
Man, we just going to have to put the work in every day. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really came down to. And back in L.A., ain't nobody really had that much pride into where it was like, oh, yeah, everybody wanted to see everybody win type of thing. Like, everybody was rooting for each other and type of things like that. So that chemistry going to be a big part in creating that secondary and just having everybody on the same page and communication and things like that, and like not overlooking the little things is gonna be big. So I mean, that's what I feel like brought a lot of success to us. And you know what I'm saying, like I said, we all wanted to win and do something good. So I mean, putting that pride to the side and being able to like do the bigger things for the team is gonna be the key. And I mean, I feel like we got the talent from top of the roster to the bottom of the roster, just out there watching it every day in practice. You know, this is my first time really getting with them this week. And, I mean, we just got to keep putting the work in and learning from each other and just keep on having fun with it, too. That's probably going to be the biggest thing, just have fun with it, too.
And there's a lot of talent in this back end of this defense, a lot of great coaches as well. Jeff Howard, Brandon Lynch, and Joe Woods, who's the defense coordinator, kind of made his mark as a DB coach in Denver before making the move to defensive coordinator and then DB coach with the Niners and before coming here. When you look at this defense and that group, you know, how do you feel the talent around when you look around at Denzel and John Johnson and Greedy and Craig Newsome and Grant Delpit and Ronnie? Does it feel like a pretty loaded secondary to you?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a pretty loaded. Like I said, it's from top to bottom, even the reserves. So, like, I mean, it's going to be iron sharpening iron every day because we're going to have to come out there and compete and try to be the best us every day. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to watching because I'm kind of like the oldest one out there, so I'm looking forward to watching these young players grow and keep on going and watching Denzel have his success that he's been having. So I'm looking forward to it. And, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully I can be a helping hand in some of that way. Me and JJ, like, because we come from some experience and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's going to be fun.
Do you is that one of the reasons, getting that chemistry, getting to be around the guys, that one of the reasons that you and John decided to come in this week and get, you know, a little time on the field with your secondary prior to the mandatory minicamp? Is that one of the reasons it was important to you?
I mean, yeah, and just being able to get back out there, I kind of was just missing football too. I mean, it's cool being able to work out and things like that, but just missing football in general, I felt like it was kind of getting a little, you know what I'm saying, slow motion for me in a way. Like, it was cool being at home, but not being able to be around that, like, that chemistry and, like you say, like, being around the guys, I mean, obviously, but just football as a whole, I felt like.
Troy Hill, our guest, New Browns corner, formerly of the Rams, of course, Ohio native. Troy, I want to ask you about Aaron Donald in the respect of Miles is certainly somebody who aspires to get to that level, and you could argue that few have been at the level Aaron Donald is at. In watching him through the years, and I'm just thinking this as Miles as a young player trying to get to that point, what is it that separates Aaron from everybody else? Because it seems like he has in the last 5 or 6 years just separated from everybody else.
The work ethic, I say. Like, I mean, he's the best player, and the work ethic is something special to watch. And, you know, when you got a 300-pounder with abs, that says a lot. And, I mean, he got the pure talent and everything, quick on his feet, all that. But, I mean, I feel like what separated is the work ethic. I mean, I see him working so hard and things like that. So, I mean, that's what probably makes him great.
It's got to be that lifestyle, that dedication to pursuing that. And, you know, you talked about last year, you guys all had the same goal, to be great. And that will be, you know, hopefully that you feel that carries over here to your time with the Browns. I do have to ask, though, was there any jealousy on the defense or the offensive side of the ball with the Rams when you finished the season with 3 touchdowns? You led the NFL in defensive touchdowns. You scored more than some of the guys on the offense on your team. Pretty incredible how that all kind of came to be for you last year.
Yeah, blessing. You know, that's God, you know what I'm saying, working his magic, and a little skill from me too. But I mean, like I say, it was no jealousy. Everybody was happy, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And like it was helping us win. So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, how could you be mad at something like that if it's helping us win in a way? So I mean, like I said, we all had the main goal was the main goal, and it wasn't no jealousy. Everybody was happy for everybody.
Hey,
we always having success too.
Yeah.
Winning helps, right, man? Hey, I wanted to ask you about next week with mandatory. We'll get this offense in here. Reportedly, the entire offense will be here, and you're going to be able to, you know, it's mini camp. It's not training camp. We get it, but you'll be able to see Odell and Jarvis and Kareem and Nick Chubb and Baker and all those guys that are out there. Are you excited to kind of get everybody out on the field next week?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm excited about that, to see what the team can be, and you know what I'm saying, being able to compete against them boys and get better every day going against them too. So I mean, I'm excited about that, because I mean, it's mini camp, but you're gonna also get a feel of what y'all can be, type of thing, like throughout the year. I mean, it's good on paper, but like, you know, we're gonna keep on working and get better every day.
Well, we're certainly excited to see you get out here and get everybody on the field next week. I look forward to actually getting to meet you in person. And then when you depart and go spend some time in Sacramento, California with the great Money Mitch, obviously, please bring our regards. I know you'll have a great time. It's impossible not to around Money Mitch, but have a great time. And Troy, certainly thrilled that you're back home, back with the Browns, and excited to see what you guys can do this year. I think it's going to be a very, very fun season for Cleveland Browns football.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me today.
Troy, thank you so much for your time, bud. We'll look forward to seeing you in person next week, man.
All right, see you next week.
All right, that is Troy Hill, our new corner. And, I mean, that was great. He could be Money's brother.
Totally. Totally. It's great.
I mean, you get emotional.
What's going on? What was going on in Eugene?
As if God gave us a second Mitch. We've got 2 Mitches. It's
yes.
amazing.
Yes.
You lose a son, and another one comes in. What a time to be alive.
And I mean, to think that we were, you know, not concerned. I think we both felt very confident that once you're around Money Mitch, you can't help but have a bond. But I mean, they're going to work out together. Of course, they're boy. He called Money Mitch. He said, "You love Cleveland." Made my decision easier. Of course it did.
It's awesome.
Of course.
Absolutely awesome.
Boy.
All right, we'll play a little better or worse coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. My friends, if you're sick and tired of your outdated kitchen, it's the perfect time to upgrade to a new modern design. Northeast Factory Direct cabinets include all the upgrades: solid wood, full extension drawer glides, cushion closed drawers and doors, and the best part, the process is super simple. Make an appointment, bring in some basic measurements. A kitchen designer going to walk you through the design on the interactive big screen. You can see exactly how it will look. It's awesome. Appointments and design are free. There's no obligation on that, and they'll let you take it with you. How cool is that? You have 0% financings available. So if you're thinking about remodeling your kitchen, go to northeastfactorydirect.com and schedule your appointment today. Time for a little better or worse.
Yes.
And Gibby. Hello, Gibby.
You know, we went to start this segment 23 hours ago.
Yeah,
That's right.
We went to start it and then got derailed by weather forecasting.
We did. Hey, did you get derailed last night, or were you able to play?
Oh,
did the rain get through? Did you thrive?
We were thriving, and then we ran into a speed bump on a par 3. There might have been. We ran into problems on a par 3 at the very end, and then we came back and had chance for an eagle. I literally, our one guy Pollock, we were 240 out on a par 5, and he put it just off the green.
Nice job out of him.
Nice.
Yeah. What's your format? What are you guys playing? How's it going?
Well, last night was our annual scramble and Champions
I love
dinner.
how you guys change it up. Champions Dinner in June?
Yes.
Season's over?
No, the Champions Dinner from last year.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it got
perfect.
delayed because of the weather a couple times. It got pushed back. And then our buddy Travis, congrats to him, he had a baby on the day that we were supposed to do the Champions Dinner. His wife was a few weeks early.
Congrats,
so.
yes. I wonder if we put a poll, do we need a poll question today?
You can do it tomorrow, today.
Would you rather be invited to the Champions Dinner or play a round of golf with Jack Nicklaus? That's what I know. The Gibby Champions Dinner.
The Gibby Champions Dinner was pretty darn good.
I bet that there's a lot that happens.
I can't imagine how good the Gibby Gibby Champions Dinner would be. And it wasn't a round; it was caddy for Jack Nicklaus.
No, you didn't even get to play with him. That's right. You just
but you know you're going to get a shot.
That's right.
You know you're going to get a shot on the par 3.
Hold the clubs.
Hold my bag. Oh, man.
Just like the legendary Zago. Don't you dare hit a ball at Olympics, little Z.
Nope.
Nate.
Not even one. Not even one.
One swing, Uncle Z? Nope. Zip.
Now you're going to watch me and Jack Bieber do our thing.
Did you ask?
Of course. I thought it was assumed
what was your approach?
A shot.
Of course you'd be assumed you get to hit a shot. Like you played, of course.
Yeah, and this is at the time I was either playing in
play?
high school or I was into college, and I was on the Emory golf. Like I could play.
Yeah.
The fact that they played as a twosome at a country club.
So it was 2 guys.
Yeah.
There was no foursome. It was only 2 of them. It's Olympics, so it's not like you don't got
and one of the guys was a member. Like I would have been just a guest fee, which I would have gladly paid.
Yeah. Right.
No.
So
walk around with us, watch us play golf. Hold my bag.
And what did you say? Like, did you say, "Hey, can I?" And how did that go? What was the approach?
Well, at first I thought maybe I was going to be playing. And then he's like, "No, it's very exclusive. But you can come with us."
Did you bring your clubs?
No, I did not bring my clubs because I was in the Bay Area at the time, so I knew that I wanted to, but I was basically told that wasn't happening. So then we got to, I think it was like maybe the first par 3 or whatever, and I'm like, "Hey, can I take a shot at hit one on the green?" No.
How old were you?
What
I was either in high school or just in college.
Was he asking your
and
advice
he said no?
for anything?
No, he just thought it was what a treat for me it was to walk Olympic Club. I didn't even get to roll a putt. I was like, "Can I hit a putt?" On the practice putting green, I got to putt a few.
Epic proportions.
Yeah. It was like crazy, and I've still never played Olympic Club.
Was the member like his friend?
Yeah, Jack Bieber's his boy. Yes.
And so, like, was Jack like, "Oh yeah, this is perfectly normal for him to just observe us playing"?
I don't know.
Yeah, Jack should have come to your defense. Jack should have been like, "Come on, let the kid take a swing.
Come on, let the kid hit."
And Bieber, he was a cool dude. I don't know how it got there, but like once Zago made a ruling, nobody questioned a ruling of Zago.
He was unimpeachable.
Yeah. He was the arbiter of truth.
Yeah. Man, that's incredible.
I got to ask Danny about this.
The only real chink in his armor. Like, that's really it.
Yeah. But he's
that incident.
He's made up for it. Well,
I know, but it's just
he had
stunning.
He's had
usually favored uncles. Hey, why don't you play the last 3 holes with us or something? You've done a good job here, boy chick. Let's let you tee it up the last 3.
His 3 is 3. So that would be the Olympic Club, which would be number 1 by far. Number 2 was one day I was playing at Lincoln Park in San Francisco, and he made a ruling on me when my ball came to rest in like a chopped down tree that was stacked, which according to the rules means you get a free drop from it. It's a man-made obstruction.
Yeah.
No, assessed me a penalty, a 2-shot penalty for moving my ball. I got all pissed off. That ruined the entire round. And then the other time was when I was going to beat him in for the first time in my life, and we're on like 16, and he's like, it's too dark, and just took his pull cart. He had one of those like push carts or pull carts or whatever you call them, and just walked off the course. Not an official round. You didn't beat me.
See,
waiting for me in the parking lot.
Move.
I'm just like, what do you mean?
That move is my favorite move. Like, to me, that elevates him, because I will at some point do that with the boys. I will definitely do that. Use that move with the boys. I'm definitely stealing that. The first 2 you can't defend. But the first one, like what I probably would have done is made it seem like you weren't going to get to play Olympic, and then as we go to the 10th tee, why don't you play the back 9? You can play the back 9 with us. That's probably would have been my move. Earn your stripes, and then I'll let you tee it up on number 10, and we can play in. But the move to just walk away is sorry, it's too dark. I can't help you.
Like standing in the fairways, I watch him just take his clubs and go. You didn't beat me.
Awesome.
What do you mean?
Really?
Feels like I won. You walked off the golf course. No, it was
awesome.
dark.
It's great. I love that.
And that course was like an hour from his house, because I would go down to
Tucson.
So
the car ride home is just joy.
Silence, awkward. He's kind of giggling at what he's done, but I'm like really pissed off. Like,
you are.
Like, what the heck just happened there?
What the heck, man?
Yeah. Nate. Oh man.
I love that move. That's a good move.
Yeah. I miss him.
What a treat.
What a treat.
Well, we can
so,
play
Gibby, what was your
lower.
format?
You ready?
Well, before we get to that, what was your format? When you played yesterday, what were you doing? It was a total scramble, best ball scramble?
Yeah, there were 18 of us, 6 3-person teams, little scramble action.
Okay.
Some credits involved, and
I like it.
It was good.
That's fun.
The winning team was 3 under. I will not give their names because I don't want to give them any recognition whatsoever.
That's right. Is it one of the guys that tweets at you Ostertag that I saw the other night?
No.
Oh, sad. Would have been better.
No.
I saw that the other night. I'm like, why did somebody say good job Ostertag?
Oh, yeah. And I sent that to my buddy that started all that. And he was on a mother of all victory lap still yesterday.
He's peacocking around, puffing
him.
his chest out a little bit.
Yeah, he really is.
How you doing?
Yeah. It was a good time. We had a good time. The weather cooperated, and it was good, minus not winning.
Pretty soon, this better or worse segment of Chris Sims Corberg is going to be like our Matt Damon. Oh, sorry, we ran out of time. It'll be on tomorrow's show.
Sorry, Matt Damon. Yeah, maybe on tomorrow's show.
I think Gibby anticipated this is why he put nothing for 145.
No.
He left it blank.
I blocked out 30 minutes for this one.
In case we just threw this one away today.
Well, you end up with some Zago stories, and next thing you know, it's 145.
Man. That's right.
All right, Gibby, we can knock it out. Let's knock out Chris Sims' bottom 20 here.
Safe. It's evergreen. We can go whatever.
Yeah.
Chris Sims' top 40 QB countdown is going on. Now, at 2 o'clock, you'll hear from Chris Sims talking about where he slotted Baker Mayfield in his top 40.
All right.
But what I figured was I would do half of the higher or lower for this week and half next week.
Okay.
So, or even the week after. So this is numbers 20 through number 40.
Okay.
And should the following QBs be higher, closer to number 1, or lower, closer to number 40, or just right? Quick note. So 40 quarterbacks. So obviously you're going to have a few backups. You're going to have a few guys, when you have 2 QBs like Denver has, or, Carolina, their situation, whatever the case, Chicago. Number 40 was our quarterback, Case Keenum.
Okay.
So that's what do you got? You have a look of disgust.
Who, me?
I mean, I'm looking at this list.
Why is Kellen Mond ahead of Trey Lance and Justin Fields? Or for that matter, Case Keenum quarterbacked the team to the NFC Championship game. I realize it was 2017, but it did happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Case Keenum, so he's behind Tyrod, he's behind Marcus Mariota, he's behind Kellen Mond. There's not a single metric ever that would have Kellen Mond ahead of Justin Fields on anything. Ever. Nothing. There's not a metric, there's not a stat, there's not an accomplishment, nothing. You're basically saying it's my hunch. And while all the data is saying otherwise, this is what I think.
Dude,
oh, really? Formulate an argument.
This is why I want
There's none.
He's got Zach Wilson at nuts. 27, Mac Jones at 30, Kellen Mond. I mean, he's got Taysom Hill at 24. He has Trevor Lawrence at 28 behind Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson. Trevor Lawrence is barely better than Dalton or Mac Jones, who's better than Goff 31? And Theodore. Ridiculous.
Did you see who's number 31?
Yes. I mean, what?
This is an absurd. I mean, he has Jared Goff 31 on this list. 31. Jared Goff quarterbacked a team to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff beat Seattle in Seattle last year without a deep threat, and Jared Goff is behind Dan Jones. And I love Fitzmagic. He's behind Taysom Hill. What are we doing, Chris Sims?
This is I want conversation, and I want people to get all
right, but you
up
have
in
to
arms, but
look at this better than anybody, and I think you and I are good arbiters of our own truth. Okay, but to be an arbiter of your own truth, you have to at least build a case. There is no case that can be made, and I'd have to listen to it, but I'm not going to take the time. There's no plausible case for Kellen Mond to be ranked ahead of Justin Fields, let alone Case Keenum. There's not a single argument other than it's just what I think.
How about Drew
Lock? At that
Lock?
point, that's like arguing with a mob boss.
Right.
Like what? That's what I think. Well, okay, I guess that's gospel. What are you kidding me?
Why is
Drew Lock?
Why is Drew Lock ahead of Trey Lance and Fields? Why is
Tua? I mean,
people at least
Theodore's
like
ahead
Tua.
of Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill at 24, I have a real difficult
It's laughable.
time getting my head around.
It's laughable. I'm sorry. Do you want? Go ahead, Gibby.
No,
This is just a crazy list.
You're in fuego right now.
Crazy list. He's
all good. Let's go higher or lower here.
Higher or lower?
Cam Newton comes in at number 20 to kick this off. Now remember, these are his rankings 20 to 40. Should Cam Newton be higher or should Cam Newton be lower?
I'm just not sure we know who Cam Newton is anymore.
There are few people who I respect more in terms of what they've put themselves through and what they were from a physical standpoint than Cam Newton. And I know you've been on a field when Cam Newton's been on a field. I've been on a field when Cam Newton's been on a field. There's no way that you and I can do justice to his physical presence.
Yep.
Unless you're there, you just can't understand his physical prowess.
Yep.
And the way he's put together. It defies logic. But I just don't think he's the same guy. And I think we saw that last year in New England. Now, he was decent at the start, and I have so much respect for him because, buddy, he would run it into piles over and over again. I mean, this is an established guy who's playing for nothing, and I'm guessing that's why he's still the starter there, is because of the amount of guts he showed before he got COVID.
Sure.
Because he would stick his nose in over and over and over, and I respect the heck out of that. But I would not put him ahead of Ben Roethlisberger on this list right now. And even though Ben's depleted, that's crazy. He's not better than Goff right now, based on what we've seen. I don't think he's better than a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo right now based on what we've seen. And I don't think he's better than Trevor Lawrence right now.
Trevor Lawrence is ranking on this list. I mean, are we to believe that Chris Sims is the general manager of the Jags?
Yeah.
And right now the Giants say, hey, we'll give you Daniel Jones
Right.
Or the Saints call up and say, hey, we're going to give you Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill for
Trevor Lawrence. And he's saying, yeah?
I'll do it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm in. Where do I sign?
I got nothing.
I mean, that seems nuts.
Nothing.
This list seems crazy to me. Now, the Mac Jones, I don't know if this Mac Jones Trey Lance ranking is to be like, hey, Kyle, I said that this is what you were going to do. You didn't do it, so now I'm going to just make Mac Jones look like the greatest quarterback in the league and crap on your boy.
Don't know.
This says if he had the number 1 pick, he's taking Zach Wilson, not Lawrence. Yep. And he's taking Mac Jones before Lance and Fields.
He has said that before.
Yeah, he has said that in the lead up. The honestly, like if the biggest travesty in this whole thing is Mond.
You watch way more college than I do. I don't even know anything about him.
That's insane. He was a quarterback at Texas A&M. They never won anything. And not only that, he was not spectacular at any point.
Yeah.
There has to be another backup in the NFL that it can replace him on this list of top 40.
It's a stunning admission on this list that he would be on this list and that he would be ahead of Justin Fields, who, by the way, looks great in Bears camp.
Frankly, the fact that Case Keenum's on the list means that he regards him as one of the elite backups in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyrod
I don't know
at this
if we
point,
even want his regard, to be honest.
Why is Tyrod ahead of anybody? I like Tyrod.
Right.
Wonderful human being.
It's Tyrod, isn't it?
Tyrod. It went back and forth. I don't remember what we settled on. That was a long time ago. That was 2018.
Those are days in the rear view.
Rear view mirror.
All right.
Thank goodness.
And
remember how stingy I was, and I just kept saying we have to keep talking about Tyrod. It was the plan, and you kept saying 6. What's going on with 6? I said,
I want to hug him.
There's a time.
I
know you wanted to
hug
hug him.
Yeah, but then you went back to California, Bo, and things changed.
And then it all changed. All changed. I missed that Jets game. Sad.
Yeah.
Real sad. Real sad.
I would have loved to have been there.
V sad.
Go ahead.
You missed a trip to California, too. You didn't even get to your homecoming.
Couldn't even go to my hometown.
Couldn't go to the
sad
Oakland Alameda County Coliseum.
It's all right. I took full advantage of it.
Naturally.
Yeah. All right. Forget that because you're going to disagree with just about 90% of these. So here, all right.
It's a crazy list.
All right. So take this list. Take 20 through 40. Rank your top 5 on 20 numbers 20 through 40. Give me your top 5
from this group of names.
I think you have to do this. I think you have to do this from the perspective of if I'm trying to win a game in the NFL Sunday, right? Isn't that the way? Because you can't say you're not doing futures here. You're saying what are they right now?
Right for this season.
Right?
Yes,
for this season.
Well, that's tricky, though, because I think Lawrence, by the end of the season, I'd have him 20.
I'd have him 1. I'd put him 1 anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I would put him at the very top of this list.
Forget ordering them. Who are the 5 that you would want for this season?
Here's 5 that
for this season only.
Okay, I think that Lawrence would make that list for me.
And take them out of their current roster situation. So, like, Goff doesn't get dinged for being on the Lions.
Lawrence, Goff. Roethlisberger would certainly still be there. I know he fell off at the end, but that's ridiculous for him to be there. Roethlisberger would be there. I would say Garoppolo, a healthy Garoppolo, would be among my 5, and I really like Fields. I don't know. There's guys who have played in the league a little bit, so I don't know. But Fields would be close for me. I mean, he would have been the second quarterback for me.
If Cam's healthy, I would put Cam on the list. But I agree with you. The others, it's Lawrence, it's Goff, Ben, Jim Garoppolo, and I would probably say Cam if he's healthy. If not, I feel like Jameis Winston's got a real shot this year.
I hope. Yeah, this is crazy though. I mean, it really is. It's hard to take. The Mond thing is just it. Anybody who's watched college football, there's no metric. None.
And the one name we really haven't talked about. If Tua ends up being the 34th best quarterback in the NFL this year, someone's getting fired in Miami. Heads are going to roll.
Yeah, and I'm not in on it. To me, I think his ceiling is like poor man's Alex Smith. That's the ceiling to me with him. that's fine.
Fine.
You can win with that.
Of course.
But that's not a change the franchise guy. That's not. We're not going to have to draft a quarterback for the next decade guy.
No. In fact, it's oh boy.
Yeah.
Listen, he's got
right.
Waddle, he's got Fuller, he's got Devontae Parker, and he's got Gesicki. If he can't be productive in the National Football League this year with that quartet of pass catchers, he's probably not going to be successful. And his admission that he didn't know the playbook as well as he should have last year would be terrifying to me. Terrifying.
Yeah. Because it's one thing to physically not have a special trait, which I don't think he does. It's another thing to not do the work.
And you control your playbook knowledge 100%, right?
Yeah, 100%. All right. Speaking of Chris Sims, good job out of you, Gibbe. He is continuing his rankings, and our guy Baker came in at number 13. We will hear what he has to say about that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And be sure to catch the latest edition of the best podcast available. It's out today wherever you get your podcasts or by going to youtube.com/Browns. Rookie wide receiver Anthony Schwartz joins the Ibs boys on this week's episode. We were reacting to Chris Sims's patently absurd quarterback rankings in the previous segment, which they are. I mean, we love him, but I mean, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. So he had, and the thing is you'd have Chris on, and it'd be kind of like debating Prisco, I think.
Yeah.
Like, even if you win, you're not going to get.
There aren't any winners.
You don't win.
Right.
No, there's just, yeah. So he continues this with his rankings 19 through 13, which is where we find Baker Mayfield on his list. We will get to who was behind Baker and who is still ahead of him coming up after this conversation. But first, let's hear Chris on Baker being 13.
Number
you guys are down.
in the Chris Sims top 40 quarterbacks right now in the NFL is
Baker Mayfield. Yeah. What up, Baker Mayfield at number 13? I mean, Baker Mayfield is a guy, again, if somebody told me I think he's the number 9 or 10 quarterback in football, I'd go, okay. I mean, I get it. I'm not going to fight against it. I mean, it was a huge year for Baker Mayfield. And really, I think the biggest thing I would just say is it's an elite arm. He's an elite passer, an elite thrower, whatever you want to talk about that way. But, I think the biggest thing that jumped out to me was the amount of high-level, high-degree difficulty throws that Baker Mayfield made throughout the year, and he doesn't blink or doesn't flinch, and he hits the bullseye. Ding, 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 bullseye. I mean, really, that I think when I went back and watched, that was the thing I looked at. I mean, again, obviously he was more confident and knows the offense. Mm-hmm. Like Derek Carr, not necessarily the greatest runner, but a great mover. Can make people, oh, is one guy free? Oh, I broke his ankles. Now I'm free and I can set up and make a throw. Oh, it's a bootleg. The guy on the edge didn't go for the fake. He's right there. Oh, I made a miss. Now I'm on the run and I made a throw and finished the bootleg. Oh, it's a bootleg. And there's a guy 25 yards down the field screaming across the field, going a million miles per hour. He's open by a quarter of an inch. I don't care. I'll rip it in there. Rips it in there. There's so many of those type of throws. In cuts where I go, ooh, are you going to throw that? Ooh, oh, what a throw. Like, perfect throw. There's too many of those throws where they were almost Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes-ish, where you go, oh, is he really going to throw that? Oh, good throw. Ooh. Oh, my gosh, that was lucky. Wait, it's the 27th time I've said that. It's not lucky. He's that good now. And that's where I think Baker Mayfield made the big jump. And he brings an edge to your football team. You say what you want about Baker Mayfield. You like him or love him. The guys on that team love him, and it shows on the football field, and he brings an attitude to their football team. And I think that's why I'm excited and why he made the big jump.
If you're watching on YouTube right now, the biggest change from last year to this year, the touchdown-to-interception ratio. 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, 2019.
Yes.
Last year it was 26 touchdowns, just 8 interceptions, took fewer sacks as well. Pro Football Focus had him as the second highest-graded quarterback in the league from Week 7 through the playoffs.
I can believe it. He was on fire.
One guy better. I bet that was Rodgers from that point on.
I would think so, yeah.
So did Kevin Stefanski make him better? Did his offense set him up better? Are there things that you saw from Baker working with Kevin Stefanski?
Two things I think that jump out from the big jump. Fix some mechanical issues, and I remember, if you remember last year, we talked about just like throws where you're like, you can't miss that throw. Some of those interceptions from the 2019 season were like, people are open. You stepped over here to throw the ball here, or you reached back ultra aggressive to throw it 105 miles per hour when an 85 mile per hour fastball would have done and the guy would have scored a touchdown. So I think he cleaned up some mechanical things that certainly made him more efficient. His feet were better. His base was better. He did not reach back to just like, I got to throw it so hard it breaks the guy's face. He stopped doing that a little bit. His arm is so strong. I mean, it's one of the stronger ones in football. Remember that Hail Mary throw against the Ravens? I mean, he threw that out of the end zone, 70-plus yards.
Yeah.
Right, so he can launch it. But here's where the Stefanski thing, I think, is the messaging Stefanski brings in. He made, a real system. He makes football simple, play action pass. I want you to look to this guy, and then you're checked down and you got to move and run or do something. And I think that rang true. And he gave hey, he came from Freddie Kitchens, who was obviously, kind of learning on the fly, was in a position that was, a little tough for him at that point. But I think that's the big thing I look at more than anything with the Stefanski-Baker Mayfield marriage is the messaging. He built his confidence a little through those first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And once he felt comfortable within that offense, man, he let it fly towards the end of the year, and it was very impressive what Baker Mayfield did.
Let me read what the Browns GM, Andrew Berry, had to say about Baker Mayfield just recently. He said, Baker, over the past year, has shown an enormous amount of growth. I think that's both on the field and, quite honestly, off the field as well.
Right.
And there's news out there that Baker, I think it's going on right now in Austin, Texas, getting a group together, his receivers, with somewhat of a passing camp. And Njoku has indicated he is in Austin. Reports are that Odell's in Austin, Jarvis Landry, Donovan Peoples-Jones there as well. So, like you mentioned, he's got that personality that I think when it looked like he was going to struggle as a top overall pick, people piled on, right? They're like, oh, this guy thinks he's all that, and he's not. And so I think a lot of people were looking for the deficiencies in his game, where last year it was pretty easy to see all the good things in Baker Mayfield's game. And now we can see if it will continue to, with Odell Beckham, which has been a mystery.
That's where it's exciting. I mean, their roster on paper is phenomenal. So, that's the first thing you look at. The system's good. They're going to be able to run the ball. Mm-hmm. If they can get Odell and that connection working, that's where it's exciting when you think about Cleveland and what they could possibly do. Because their offense is damn good. And they were damn good without Odell. But if they got Odell back to somewhat close to being 100% or what he was when we saw him with the Giants and things like that, then I would say, hey, this team, they're in the Super Bowl window whether Odell comes along or not. And I'm hoping he does. But I think like the things you said are very real. And off the field, what Andrew Berry commented about, no doubt. We had less of those viral moments last year where he made stupid, snarky comments to the reporters or got a little pissed off about a question and walked off, right? I think he handled himself better. I think he did show maturity on and off the field. But like I said, the big thing was, again, off schedule, things wouldn't work out perfect.
Right.
Baker Mayfield's movement, his ability to throw balls into tight windows, and the degree of difficulty of those throws were as high as, anybody I saw in the sport this year. The offense doesn't lend itself to just wide open, easy completions all the time. It doesn't. Hey, they run the ball, they run boots, they run play actions. Right. You can kind of pin them on what they do, but they got talent, and they know they got a quarterback who can absolutely rip it in bad weather, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And that's where it's cool to see Baker Mayfield.
He goes from 21 on this list last year for you all the way up to 13, and room to grow. Could be in the top 10 midseason.
He's got top,
with Baker.
Yeah, no doubt. He's got top 10 talent. And, I think the big thing, like you said, is that run we saw at the end of the year in the playoffs. He was great against the Steelers. He was really great against the Chiefs, and they could have won that game. That was really close. But the way he finished off that year was damn good, and I think it'll start off that way too.
You're up.
It's funny. So he has him 13, but he doesn't sound like he's 13.
No, it sounds like he's elite.
Yeah. He said elite arm, high level, high difficulty throws. Talked about his leadership. Talked about the tight windows. So he has him 13, but he didn't talk about him like he was the number 13. It seemed like he talked about him in more like top 8. Is the way that it seemed to me. And maybe it's a reflection of how many good quarterbacks are in the league. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, and Baker showed the ability to carry this team. 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, that's insane elite football. That's what we've seen Aaron Rodgers do for a few years now, honestly, kind of those kind of touchdown-interception ratios. But it was the difficulty of the throws, his ability to drive the ball in any weather condition, which we saw, believe me, we experienced. I certainly did last year. So
yes, you did.
Boy, I did. And I think he makes a good point about Odell too. Odell has not been the player he was in his first few years with the Giants in a long time in terms of just dominating games, 1,300 yards, double-digit touchdowns. It just hasn't happened.
Right.
For injuries, a variety of reasons. But the continued, it's so interesting. I do these interviews. I was on Sirius yesterday, and the people really want to push the narrative that we're better off without Odell, and I don't buy it. He is
silly.
the most talented receiver on our roster. And, I think hopefully Baker and he can figure out that chemistry. But you go back, just watch the Dallas game. Watch the out and up against the Bengals. I mean, he can be our most dominant receiver and a scary receiver. And this is an offense that historically has been able to support, big-time production from one or two receivers in it. That could be this year for Odell Beckham Jr. There's a lot of pressure on him, and I think he's put a lot of pressure on himself. You just want to see him stay healthy, come back from this. But we will be better, and that's the thing. We can add an explosive element that was missing last year with Odell, and then 10, 15 snaps a game of Anthony Schwartz, and just the fear factor that he brings with his speed.
I think you make a great point. And I think it's really important, too, to kind of understand that it's probably not realistic for Odell Beckham Jr. to be what he was with the Giants. That standard, it's been a while. That's 2016. It's been a while. He's had a lot of injuries that, and it's hard to come back from all of that. And yet, that can be true, and he can still be an incredible threat and an incredible game wrecker that otherwise we don't have. We don't have anybody else who can turn it and take it 80 like he can, like that can make people miss like he can. So he gives you something else. And if you can, and you bring that Dallas game up last year, he still has those elite traits. He's got all of that stuff. And if he can get back, is he going to catch 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns? No, that's not going to happen. But he can be 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. That can happen. That absolutely can happen. We'll continue our OTA camp tour with a look at Odell's former team, the New York Giants. Kim Jones, by the way, who knows Odell very well, and we'll ask her if she's talked with Odell this offseason. My guess is she has. She'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour to talk a little bit about this Giants rebuild and where they're at. Give you some highlights if you ever want to go to the New York area and check out a Giants game. We do all of that coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. If your game plan for this season includes buying or selling a home, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services has you covered. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. As we continue our OTA camp tour, we take a look at the New York Giants. Did the Jets yesterday do their co-tenants at the Meadowlands today, MetLife or wherever it's called, always be the Meadowlands to me. This is going to be just a big bet on Dan Jones, isn't it? I mean, it's really as simple as that. They went with Saquon Barkley. They took Daniel Jones. It's a bet on those two things, and you take a running back early, it's so risky. Jones is special. There's no question, but I just think it's impossible to take him in the top 5 and for it to work out. Yeah. It's just rare, so rare that it does. Who did I say? Did I get
you
the name
said
right?
Jones is special, which I knew you did not believe, so you were saying.
No.
Saquon.
Barkley is
Saquon,
special.
yes.
Barkley is special. He's just a running back, and they get hurt, and he did, and so he's coming back off of injury.
Again.
And then it's a big bet on Daniel Jones, and this is Dave Gettleman's team that he's putting together. I am dubious to where they are. I think I had them, if memory serves, towards the bottom, like 27 or 28 in the league. I
29.
I think they're a long way off.
29 for you, 25.
Yeah, I knew I had them towards the bottom. I don't
25
like them.
for me. Now, I think they have an opportunity to be better than people think, but it's going to be incumbent on Daniel Jones to do so. I mean, listen to this receiving group. I like this. Darius Slayton, Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, John Ross. Those are your top 5 receivers. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Saquon Barkley. And then you've got Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph at tight end. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good group. And you've got on your line Andrew Thomas, last year's first-round pick who struggled. Will Hernandez, second-round pick from 18. Matt Pert, a third-round pick from 2020. Shane Lemieux, Nick Gates. I can't comment on their proficiency whatsoever. But defensively,
I just don't believe in the line, and I don't believe in Jones. I mean, I think that's
the key. You don't believe, right. Defensively, though, that front's great. Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence. They drafted Azeez Ojulari, who we liked a lot. They've got some talent. James Bradbury played great corner last year. You got Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers, Adoree Jackson they signed as well. You get Aaron Robinson in the draft this year, Xavier McKinney from a couple years ago. So they've got some talent on this team. They do. Can they turn it into anything? We'll find out. But
they
there's
have more talent than Philly. They probably have more talent than Philly.
Yeah.
In the division, I don't know if they have as much as the other teams, but they have more. They definitely have more talent than Dallas or Washington, but they have more talent than Philly. It's just a matter of if you believe in Daniel Jones and those who can protect him, and we'll see. We got some fact or fiction, some other stuff here that we want to get through before we get to that. Who's your favorite Giant of all time?
Ooh. Probably Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, you could make a straight-faced argument that he's the best football player ever.
Yep.
I mean, you can put him in the Jim Brown, Jerry Rice conversation, Brady, whatever. I mean, he's in that realm of a player, and he was just incredible. And with those teams in the late 80s with Parcells, with Carson and Banks and Lawrence and Phil Simms at quarterback, that group was just such a blue-collar, punch-you-in-your-mouth group of players. And I always thought that they were greater than the sum of their parts because sometimes they would beat the Niners.
Yeah.
It didn't happen often, but they would. And it was like, how? How are they doing this? But their defense was so good, and Taylor was just a wrecking ball. He was just an unbelievable talent to watch. Do you like those Giants uniforms or these Giants uniforms better?
I love those old school ones. I mean, he 8-time All-Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler, obviously in the Hall of Fame. He was just absolutely dominant. Just completely dominant. I like those. I like that blue. I think their new ones are good-looking, though. I think those are good-looking football uniforms.
I do, too. I like them, too. I think they're current. I actually prefer their current ones. They're just not associated with winning the way that their other ones are, but I like the NY. I think that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. I think those are fine. If you've been to that stadium, what do you think?
I like it. I've been there many times for a variety of events. I do like that. It's fine. It's just a big cookie cutter stadium. It feels like to me. Nothing.
I remember somebody saying this is what $3 billion gets you in New York, and then Jerry World is what $3 billion gets you in Dallas.
I think that's fair. I mean, it wouldn't be If you said go through your favorite stadiums in the league that I've been to, it's not in the top half. It's very nondescript. It's a big, open, outdoor stadium.
Fact or fiction, Daniel Jones will be why turf? Why do they not have grass?
Ridiculous. I don't know.
Ridiculous. Fact or fiction, Dan Jones will be the Giants starting quarterback 1 year from now.
Fact. I think they're fully committed to him, fully invested in him. I think that he's got an excellent supporting cast.
It's only year.
It's year 3.
This is only his third year.
Right. It's year 3.
Yeah. They'll pick up the option and let him run it back. Fact or fiction, the Giants will not finish in last place in the NFC East. Them or the Eagles? I have them lower than the Eagles, so I guess I will say fiction. They will finish. They will finish last.
I think they're competing for the bottom 2 spots in that division. I don't know if they. Yeah. I'll say fact just to be on the other side, and the Eagles can finish last. New head coach there, Danny Dimes. The one thing about, if I could just throw this, not a bad runner, 423 yards last year, and actually a better athlete than you might think. Some big runs. He
had the fastest. Wasn't he tracked last year? The fastest run speed. Last
anybody?
Year, he had like an 80-some-yard touchdown last year where he was running like 26 miles an hour or some crazy thing.
Didn't he have one where he fell on his face? He
did have that one
to the ground. Yeah, he had
got a little top heavy.
That was against Philly. He ran 80 yards and fell down at the goal line, and they ended up having to settle for a field goal. Sad.
Right, which kind of sums it up a little bit. Gibby wants to know who's more valuable to this team, Kenny Golladay or Saquon Barkley?
I think it's got to be Saquon. I mean, Galladay's good, but they've got Slayton's a nice receiver. They've got some good players at wide receiver. They drafted Tony. Their top 5 is pretty solid, but Saquon Barkley is the guy that they need to be good. And last year, if you remember, before he got hurt, he was averaging 1.8 yards per carry over those first 2 games. He had 15 carries for 6 yards in the opener against Pittsburgh. 15.
It wasn't just the injury.
No. It was.
They were bad up front too, to be fair.
They were, but this is Saquon Barkley's the guy that they need to be dominant. And if you look at kind of the returns on Saquon Barkley, first year, 2,000 total yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 yards a carry. Next year,
rookie of the year,
rookie year, misses 3 games. 1,400 total yards, 8 touchdowns, 4.6 yards a carry. Then plays only 2 games, 94 total yards, 1.8 yards per carry. So, yes, I think they need Saquon Barkley back because he's not just a runner. I mean, he had 91 catches that rookie season. So they need him back as a pass catcher as well. I'd like the next question to be read verbatim.
Who was the better Giants quarterback, Chris Sims or Eli Manning?
That's right. That's what it says on the paper there. Chris Sims on the brain, Gibby.
Little bit. I did put it in the chat that I had screwed that up.
Yes. You did.
It's interesting with those quarterbacks from that era because, when you're a kid and Phil Simms is quarterbacking the Giants, like I would have thought for sure that he's a Hall of Famer, but then you go back and look and you go, well, no, he's not. And I kind of put him in the same category as Joe Theismann, like one of those guys who quarterbacked a really good team. Eli beat 2 great Patriot teams in Super Bowls because of him.
Arguably the best ever, that undefeated team.
Yeah. And he was great. He wasn't good. He was great.
Yes.
The fact that he maintained his feet and threw the ball to David Tyree, the ball he threw to Manningham in the other Super Bowl, isn't he? He won 1 Super Bowl MVP, didn't he, Eli, or did he win them both?
I think both.
2-time Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, the throw to Manningham on the sideline in Indy was ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah. No, it's Eli. Eli's the best Giants quarterback of all time.
Phil Simms, different era, obviously. Never more than 22 touchdowns in a season. For his career, 199 touchdowns, 157 interceptions. He led the NFL in one category. Only one time in his career in that category was most yards lost due to sack, 434 in 1984.
Yeah.
He's 2-time Pro Bowler. I don't even think he was close to Eli. Eli gets a bad rap because he was not Peyton, who's the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. Eli did lead the league in interceptions 3 times, which is an ignominious, not a great distinction, kind of an infamous distinction. 366 to 244 in terms of touchdowns and interceptions. You mentioned there, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. He definitely, he was just a better quarterback. I mean, he was better in every respect, I think.
Real quick, fact or fiction, New York or Chicago pizza?
New York. That's not even a question. I don't even consider
Chicago
pizza to
is
be pizza.
Casserole.
Thank you. It's not pizza.
It's casserole. It's not pizza. Like, get over it. It's not. I'm sorry.
Why do I want all
casserole.
that bread?
What am I going to do with all of it?
I'm trying to stay leaning on
crazy.
the scene here.
Yeah, we're going to have a web poll tomorrow then.
It's New York by 1,000 miles.
There's right and then there's
that
wrong
is
on
pizza.
this one.
By the way, New York is pizza. Like, it's not New York style. Like, that's pizza.
No,
the
it's
other
pizza.
one's a casserole.
That's right.
That's it. So Kim Jones will join us next on this front. We'll ask her about Odell as well. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, Beau Bishop, Nathan Zegura with you here on Cleveland Browns Daily, and we head out on the hotline for a visit with one of our all-time favorites, the great Kim Jones, NFL Network host on WFAN in New York. And Kim, I think the last time we talked, it was probably in regard to Odell and him joining the team, and I know we spoke quite a bit, and that was so much fun. He's coming off an injury. I know that you two certainly have a connection and a relationship. Have you been in touch with him this offseason? And if so, what can you tell us?
I have. In fact, when I think it was Des Bryant tweeted Odell sprinting, essentially, this is weeks ago, I reached out to him, and the text that I sent him said, I think, you're running, or you're sprinting, and of course he knew exactly what I meant, and he sent me a bunch of videos, and then I had said to him, I'm on NFL Network tomorrow, can we use any of those videos? And he said yes, and we shared a few of them on NFL Network. One was a one-handed catch, which we've all seen a million times from him.
Yep.
One was obviously, his running at a very fast speed for distance, for the kind of distance he would need on a football field for sure, in terms of a go route or something like that. He looked terrific. And then I think we did another sequence of maybe two with him working out and catching passes. But so he, Odell's funny in the sense of I think he likes to share, even though, sometimes a superstar maybe is more guarded and certainly guarded in certain situations. But, I think he's happy, and I think he's happy with the way the rehab's going, and I think he's optimistic. And all of those things matter, guys. I speak from experience, not from a football injury, but from a life-threatening situation. Your attitude has an awful lot to do with day-to-day, how you feel, how you recover, and really how you live your life. And I will always believe that now. So I'm happy for him that he seems not only happy, but looks really good.
Yeah, we're happy about that as well, and excited to see him back here with the Browns. And Kim, we're going to talk, obviously, the Giants. We're doing our tour here around the league, and the Browns are going to have those joint practices with the Giants before their preseason Week 2 matchup. But, what's kind of the mood around this team? You look at the roster, there's a lot of talent on offense at the skill positions for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and that was the goal, right? They knew that in this, his third year, that they had to give Daniel Jones the kinds of players around him that can help him, fulfill his potential, because the Giants, obviously, with where they drafted him and what they've said about him consistently, especially since Joe Judge became the head coach, they are banking on him being their franchise quarterback for a long time to come. Obviously, we're going to have to see about some of that, or a lot of it, frankly. But when you watch Kenny Golladay, who the Giants just finished their mandatory mini camp, and Golladay didn't do a whole lot. He certainly participated, and he was out there in uniform and everything like that. Today, in fact, it looked like he did less than the first 2 days. But I thought yesterday you saw a little bit of Daniel and Golladay kind of getting on the same page. It wasn't game speed. It was not, with the defense in either of their faces. But we saw a little bit of it. But you're right. They went out and signed some players. John Ross, again, that will be a gamble in terms of his health and able to stay on the field. But he would give the Giants, obviously, a very fast receiver if he could recapture both his health and obviously everyone knows how fast John Ross is. So, yeah, I mean, they're putting pieces around him. And then there's the offensive line guys where they did not address that this offseason. And Dave Gettleman's answer to that, the general manager of the Giants, is we like our offensive line more than the rest of you do. Yep. And that can be an answer, this summer, and we'll see how that plays out beginning in September, of course.
Yeah, we certainly will. When you look around it, there is that. It appears to be a hole there. And speaking of holes, they hope that they are opening them for Saquon Barkley. And I would say that so much of the success of this team next year will require the hope that he gets back to what he was. What can you tell us about Saquon and where he's at, and if it's on schedule for him to get back to what he was certainly as a rookie?
Yeah, I agree with what you just said. Absolutely. I think he's the key to this whole thing. They've got to get back to using Saquon as a playmaker. I don't care that he can't block or does not effectively block Bud Dupree. I don't care about that. That is not why Saquon Barkley was drafted, and I understand the whole thing about, well, if you're a three-down back, I get it all. I get it all. But if you're going to talk about Christian McCaffrey, if you're going to talk about Saquon Barkley, and you're going to worry about if they're chipping the right guy and if they're giving their quarterback time, you have issues in terms of how you're running your offense. I'm sorry, you do. And Jason Garrett called the plays last year. He's calling the plays this year. It is going to be up to Jason Garrett with now these new weapons, and with Saquon coming back, it is going to be up to Garrett to find ways to, first of all, make sure that Daniel is comfortable and is, again, the player that the Giants hope he can be. But it is also certainly up to Jason to figure out how to get enough balls to Kenny Golladay, hypothetically to John Ross, to Sterling Shepard, who is still here, now wearing number 3. We've had to get used to that, or at least I have. And it's to honor his late father. There's absolutely no issue there. But when guys change numbers, it takes me a few times seeing them in that number for my brain to comprehend. They've got a lot of weapons that can do a lot of things, but no one else on this team, and few in the league, although you guys got a couple of them, can do what Saquon Barkley can do. So it's going to be very interesting. Saquon and Joe Judge have both not put a timetable on his return. They will not rush him. And I guarantee you, knowing Saquon well, he will not take the field until he is 100% confident in everything that he can still do and needs to be able to do on the field, that he is able to do everything. He's not going to come back early just to be on the field with teammates and then have to manage something all season. He's not going to do that. So, it's going to be interesting because the information has been a little bit lacking, but certainly he did express to us yesterday on Zoom, Saquon did, that he expects to come back and be himself, and his hope is to be even better than he was.
And that would be a scary thing. You got him, Golladay, you mentioned Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, who was obviously the apple of Urban Meyer's eye, if we were to believe those things coming out of Jacksonville.
If you want to believe Urban.
That's right. If you want to believe Urban about that one, he wanted Kadarius Toney. So and Darius Slayton, who kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit last year in terms of his production going down from 2 years ago. But a lot of talent. Evan Ingram as well. You bring in a veteran, Kyle Rudolph. They've got a lot to work with there. I do want to ask you, though, about the tension that's palpable. We feel it in Cleveland. Jabril Peppers, former Brown, wants number 5. Graham Gano says, Gano, you're not going to get it, and is tweeting Bob Barker and The Price is Right at him. Apparently, it's an exorbitant. He's trying to extort Jabril. What can you tell us about this number 5 game?
I'll be honest with you guys. I don't have a whole lot to add to that. I did see Graham Gano today. He was doing like a little workout on the side because he's a kicker. So he wasn't doing a whole lot, and then we were kind of laughing as we were watching the session end, with 5 minutes left in the practice, essentially, or at least what we watched of the practice. They bring Gano out to kick a couple field goals, so from short distance. I don't know a lot about that. My sense with Peppers is he's probably not going to change his mind, though, or so those numbers may stay.
I think you know him quite well. Yeah, I don't think Jabril is going to be changing his mind on anything from our experience with him here. Kim, I want to ask you a big picture question about the franchise because, I'm certainly old enough to remember the Giants as one of the mastheads of the league, and the Mara family and Parcells and all of what that was, and then through Tom Coughlin and all of that, and just the stability and how beloved that franchise was. And as I mentioned, just really an East Coast masthead for the league. This has been some dry years here. What in terms of the fan base, in terms of the feeling around the city and around the area, where do the Giants sit now?
I think as we stand right now, there is renewed optimism because Joe Judge has been a strong leader for this team now in his second year as head coach. And I don't think he and Kevin Stefanski are carbon copies of each other. First of all, no one is, but I also wouldn't say that about any two coaches in this league. But it certainly looks like Cleveland can at least identify with that feeling, right? Because everything I see and hear, and I see some of the Zooms, and I talk to some people, and there just seems to be great confidence that Cleveland, got it right this time. And I think that's the way the Giants fan feels now about Joe Judge, certainly, as head coach. I will say this, the hiring of Ben McAdoo after Tom Coughlin and Pat Shurmur after Ben McAdoo, those two head coaching hires set this franchise back decades, in my opinion. And it's something we never talk about. It's easier to blame players. It's easier to blame, big name players. Odell was obviously part of all of that at one point. So, let's talk about Odell again, but those two coaching hires, by John Mara are mystifying to me as we look back at them. And I think the Giants have continued to pay for it to some degree. Now, could a really representative season this year? Well, what do you mean by representative? Certainly a winning season, and one that has them at the very least highly competitive for a playoff berth deep into the season. I think that's what John Mara has essentially issued a playoff mandate. Now,
wow.
Then you say, well, what if they fall one game short? He's going to fire people? Not necessarily. I think there's great confidence in Joe Judge, including from Giants ownership. But I do think that they've had a lot, like you when you mentioned the heyday of the Giants, Parcells, and then up to and including with obviously hiccups in between, but Tom Coughlin. They really set themselves back with big picture, big hires that I think only now they're really coming back from in terms of as a franchise and as a franchise with the way it evaluates players, with the way it evaluates certain talents in players, and really getting up to speed and in some ways equal to their peers in the NFL. I think now under Joe Judge, they're finally getting back to that. We'll see how far he can take them, but certainly expectations here are high.
Yeah, my question was going to be, what are the expectations? And it sounds like they feel they can win this NFC East. You got a great defense down with the Washington football team. Ryan Fitzpatrick, now their quarterback. Dallas has never been, able to live up to its quote-unquote on-paper talent. The Eagles seem to be down with a lot of questions. So I guess it is right, but I didn't realize that they're saying, okay, year 3, it's time now. It's time to make this happen.
Yeah, well, for Daniel Jones, year 3, it certainly is time. I mean, I think that is absolutely fair. Year 2 for Joe Judge, I do think that again, he has earned a lot of the confidence he's instilled. The Giants were a more disciplined team last year. They were a team that you didn't watch and kind of scratch your head and saying, what was that decision about? Now, listen, we're all fans too, right? We're always going to watch games and wonder about play calls, especially when they don't work. So there was plenty of that, and that's one reason Jason Garrett has some pressure this season. Partly because of circumstances, Daniel Jones in and out. Obviously, he lost Saquon, but Jason didn't have his finest play calling season last year. So that will be something they will look for. But yeah, guys, I truly think a playoff berth is what owner John Mara has in mind here. He's tired. He has told us he's tired of not making the playoffs. I think that the expectation for him and his family has always been to make the playoffs. And I think to some extent, I'm not putting words in his mouth, but I think to some extent, Giants ownership is embarrassed at the product they have put on the field these last several years, last season notwithstanding, because last season it looked like they started to get their act together under Judge.
Kim, we just think you're the best, and we can't thank you enough for your time today. We love every conversation we have with you, and thanks for giving us a little bit of time today.
Thanks. Anytime, guys. Really, I mean that. Thank you so much.
The best.
Thank you. The great Kim Jones of the NFL Network and WFAN in New York. Just learn something every time. Love having her on. Still so much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. I saw this in the last couple of minutes. Bruce Arians to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers players, if you want normal, get vaccinated. This coming on the heels of Sam Darnold saying that someone was asking Darnold directly if he was vaccinated. He said, no, I still want to sort it out. Montez Sweat, same the thing.
Yeah.
Do you think it is okay to ask players if they've been vaccinated?
I mean, it's okay given the environment, the circumstances, and what it means for the team and for the NFL. I think it is okay. I think it's totally okay, by the way, for them to refuse to answer. It's my personal business.
Yeah.
I don't think they have to answer it. I think, for Sam Darnold, given what happened with, mono, you would think he would want to inoculate himself and prevent himself from anything, but there are people that still feel that way. And a lot of young Montez Sweat's this hasn't affected me, so why am I taking a shot for something that hasn't affected me at all?
Yeah. No, and it's going to be interesting because obviously the NFL life's a lot easier when you are.
And the NFLPA wants it. The NFL wants it. The NFLPA wants 100% of the players to be vaccinated, and they're going to make the players that aren't vaccinated are going to have much more difficult and stringent, protocols to follow than those that are. And if people are okay with that, that's fine. That's their decision.
Couple of unrelated changes. No mandatory minicamp in San Francisco after injuries. Kyle says we're done.
Yep.
Huge injuries. Well, and you just wonder what's going on out there with the injuries they had last year. Now injuries in OTAs, and then you saw in Houston too. David Culley said, "We're done. I'm out. We've got enough work in." Which is that one blew my mind. New coaching staff. They're not a contender, and they're shutting it down. And I think, boy, you'd want all the time that you could have, and realizing that if you have mandatories, wouldn't he have to speak every day? And you're going to get inundated with Deshaun Watson stuff, and maybe it's a way to avoid that too.
Well, and part of that was to avoid, I think, Deshaun Watson having to pay a gigantic fine for not being there.
2 minutes.
I think it's a little olive branch.
Yep.
Yeah, that was an incredible thing. The Denver thing for him with his former teammate
Kareem Jackson
heard yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then out of Green Bay, Jordan Love definitely ready to start Week 1. There was a ESPN reporter who had a glowing detailing how Jordan Love played in practice yesterday. So interesting to see what happens there. And if I were Denver right now, and I don't want Aaron Rodgers in Denver for anything in the world. But if I were Denver right now, I would say, look, how about a couple of twos in Cortland Sutton? Does that get it done? Does that get the job done for Aaron Rodgers?
What do you want?
Can we do that?
Yeah, just tell me what
Give
you
me
want.
Drew Lock. You got Jordan Love. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
What do you need him for? You don't need Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but we'll
couple
throw
of
you
twos.
Teddy
You guys love
Bridgewater.
twos.
We'll throw you Bridgewater to Stewart, to be there as a veteran
Yeah,
presence.
there you go.
Throw us Aaron Rodgers. You can have Lock, too.
30.
And one of them will be good.
That's right. Safe.
Just safe.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Next level. Coming up next, we're back to